You guys want to hear the coolest sound in history? J. Cole's new album is called KOD. It's following up For Your Eyez Only, which I thought was boring. Fuck you. And this new album, KOD, is also really boring, really uninteresting to me. I'm not really seeing much in the way of massive improvement for J. Cole. It's more of the same in the sense that it's more not interesting rap. But musically, he does, I guess, tackle some new things for him. Like, you know, trap. He tries to do trap. Like, he mimics horribly, might I add. He horribly mimics, like, you know, commercial rap. Like Lil Pump type shit. And, no. J. Cole does not sound good on these trap beats, bro. Basically, a big theme on this album, or I guess you could argue the concept, is tackling, I guess, modern day rap, like kids on drugs, is one of the, I guess, meanings of KOD, referencing, you know, younger rappers like Lil Pump, who are essentially, you know, they're kids still. They're 17, 18 years old, and they're, you know, glorifying lean and all these drugs and substances. And I guess J. Cole is taking note of the fact that this is popular and shit, and he is, you know, giving his approach to drug rap, or to popular rap on this album. Doesn't go over well. I think KOD is the strongest track on these, like, I guess, more commercial type songs, you know, because he sounds pretty decent. Like, he sounds pretty aggressive on that song. He has some kind of personality, there's some kind of attitude, the way he's talking about, like, how people complain about him having features like, how about I don't, you know, he just kind of has a bit of attitude on this track, and I think it's pretty entertaining to some degree. Second verse in particular, his flow is pretty solid. The beat is pretty dull, though. It's not much of an interesting beat. It doesn't really hit that hard. Not really any of the beats on this album really strike out on me personally. I think the only two beats I would say I enjoyed, like a decent amount, would be the last two songs. But the last two tracks on this album, to me, are the best track. Particularly Window Pane. I actually think lyrically this is one of the sharper tracks here. There's one line in particular that really stuck out to me, that not only was it a good line and fit in with the theme of the song, but the way he delivered it was also very confident. It was just a nice moment of lyrical prowess for J. Cole. The part where he said, goes through one ear, out the other, like a bullet out the muzzle, something, something, point blank range. Like, the way he delivered it was really, really nice. I thought it was a very nice, confident, sharp moment lyrically, but also I like the general, you know, sentiment of this line. They're talking about how he feels like some of his songs don't really, you know, hit the audience. Like, they go through one ear, out the other, how he compares that to being shot at point blank range, you know, also tackling like racism. It was a nice double entendre, but it was also delivered with a lot of charisma, and which is something that J. Cole really lacks. On a lot of these tracks, he sounds bored as fuck, he sounds just boring, he is not interesting. Even on the tracks where he's like hype, like on ATM, which is my least favorite song here, not only is lyrically the song atrocious, talking about like, fucking your bitch like it's part of my ritual. What? How he has like a hard-on for money, and all of a sudden I'm so good at math. Like, stop. It's a corny fucking song. And I get, like, it's not supposed to be lyrically good, you know, it's supposed to be like a mindless, like, count up the money, count it up in stacks and shit, you know, and the hook is like, count up. It's such a shit chorus, like, it's just annoying, and the beat is just dull, like, it's just such a shit track. And the singing at the beginning of ATM is awful. The singing all over this album is dreadful. J. Cole needs to stop singing this shit, man. Like, I get the whole no features thing, that's like his thing at this point, like, he doesn't do features on his albums, but for real, you have a whole label of, like, pretty talented dudes, particularly one talented dude who, like, outshines everyone on the label. You have singers like Ari Lennox and shit like that. Come on, my bro, you could have a few of these guys do a hook or two or something, or a bridge or two, because the singing, especially the singing from this Kill Edward persona that J. Cole has suddenly fucking spawned into existence, like, Jesus Christ, Kill Edward was terrible. Oh my god, especially on the cut-off. Give me a drink, give me a smoke, if I die, I don't know. Like, he sounded terrible. Well, J. Cole sounded terrible under the Kill Edward name. He sounded trash, bro. It was awful. Motivate was terrible. Brackets was cool. Only for the last, like, 2 minutes. It's like the longest track here, it's like 5 minutes something. It's way too long. It's so empty. There's so much empty space on this track where nothing fucking happens. There's just a bunch of pointless vocal skits or vocal bridges, like this one dumb one where he's talking to, like, Uncle Sam about, like, how he takes, like, half his money or something. But still, I did like the verse on this track where he's talking about taxes and how he doesn't know where his taxes are going, and I am really, like, low down. What is happening with this shit? I'm, like, super... Let me just bring this chair up. There we go. That's way more comfortable. Talking about, like, how his taxes, he doesn't know where his taxes are actually going, doesn't know what they're actually funding. He speculates that they could be... Maybe they're, like, being funded to, like, buy guns, and, like, they're circulating around the globe, and eventually these guns that the taxes that he's paying are funding eventually end up, like, in the hood, and they're killing, like, children and shit, and it's kind of fucked up. And I thought it was a very thought-provoking verse and pretty interesting, and it actually left a genuine mark. You know, it was actually, I was like, oh, cool. And his performance was genuinely kind of passionate. I can say the same for the song Friends. I liked the way he was rapping on Friends. He sounded genuinely quite honest. That is one thing J. Cole is always pretty good at. He always comes off from the heart. You know, I always think of J. Cole's song does sound like it's coming from the heart. It does always sound honest, genuine, relatable to some degree. But yeah, the production choices here are dull as hell. Like Friends, this song is a complete bore fest. This song is boring as fuck, and the instrumental is so terrible. And the medicate thing was weird. It just felt weird to me. That he was just like, I have another way. Meditate. Don't medicate. What the fuck? It seemed preachy. And yeah, I didn't care for that. It felt really awkward to me. And the Once an Addict as well, you know, very honest track talking about his mother, how she went through an addiction phase. But again, instrumentally, nothing interesting is happening here. 1985, the final track though, was kind of interesting actually to me, lyrically especially, because he's sort of going at like popular rappers, like younger, like Lil Pumps and shit like that, like drug rappers who glorify addiction, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fuck, I'm partying, making money, stacking shit, blah blah blah. Basically all those rappers like the 6ix9ines and the Lil Pumps and the Smoke Perps and shit. And he's not really like dissing them or like tearing them a new one like some I've seen some people like, oh they're dissing Jericho disses them. But he's not dissing them, like he's actually saying like he respects them. Sort of giving like big brotherly advice, essentially. He's just saying like, hey, it's all like, it's cocky, he has a bit of an attitude, which I like his approach here, you know, he's just like giving them a little nudge, and the beat so perfectly complements the topic here. The beat also has like a bit of a snarky kind of character to it to me, and the way he raps, just I especially love the part, this bit is so true, where he says how like white kids listen to your shit and they think that's what it feels like to be black. The part where he says like one day your fans are gonna grow up and forget the shit that made you blow up, like it's true. Like he's saying like actually think about your impact as opposed to just like how much money you're making. Like it's bigger than that, you know. He respects you, you're having fun, he gets it, but like also like bro, think about like rap. This is bigger than just like, yo, I'm having fun. Like it's more than that. And J. Cole, I think, really nicely, you know, gets that message across. Photograph was terrible. Awful subject matter on this track. He's talking about like falling in love with the chick on Instagram. And that shit was corny as hell. Kevin's Heart is a total snooze fest. Boring track. Overall, I didn't enjoy most of this. I thought it was mostly boring. I thought the concept was horrible. The concept was just not entertaining or interesting or original. It was just pretty flimsy. It just left literally zero impact on me. Conceptually, this thing is a mess. And instrumentally it's trash. The hooks are all fucking god-awful. Not a single memorable good hook. I'm gonna 4. Yeah. It's bad. It's a bad album. I didn't like it. That's all. It was just not for me. And it's such a shallow listen too. Like nothing is memorable in here. Like I really feel like this will never grow on me. Which I know is quite a closed-minded perspective, but I really genuinely feel like I have exhausted every possible dissection of this album I ever will do. I don't really feel like 2 years down the line it'll all click and like all the conceptual deep layers like it's not gonna happen. I mean, I think Forest Hills Drive is a good album. I like Forest Hills. I think I've always thought that's a good album. I mean, in my opinion, it's a pretty easy listen. It's a surface level listen, of course, but I've always found it pretty pleasant and enjoyable. I love the production on that album personally. But yeah, For Your Eyez Only was boring, but even that was more exciting to me than KOD. KOD is, in my opinion, the laziest, most shallow, unmemorable, and completely inconsequential release in J. Cole's entire catalog. Did not like it. I thought it was pretty weak. Yeah, cool. Bye.